Today I'm going to tell the story of how I almost died 3 times in 1 year. I will start with what is called eosinophilic esophagitis. Say that 5 times fast. Eosinophilic esophagitis, eosinophilic esophagitis, eosinophilic esophagitis. What it is, practically, it just means you choke on stuff really easily, and it's a condition that my family has. And so I, too, have this condition. Go figure. These stories, as you can imagine, all have to do with how I almost choked to death. Time number 1. I went to New York for a couple months to do like a study abroad, pretty much. I took some classes in New York City. I lived in Manhattan, and we were able to explore pretty much all parts of the city. And there's so many amazing experiences I had and so many crazy stories. There was one time where we went to the Museum of Natural History, where now the museum is supposed to take place. And I was pretty excited. And I love museums. I love learning about things that I'm interested in. So we're in the Museum of Natural History, and I'm just walking around looking at the fossils, the deep sea life, bears. I love bears. And then about a couple hours in, like 2, I think maybe 3 hours in, I was starving. I was so hungry. And I have pretty low blood sugar, so when I get hungry, I feel literally faint. When you stand up too fast and you black out, stuff like that. So I have to eat more often than I probably do. My friend Maddie, she's looking around too, and I say, hey, well, I'm hungry. There's a cafeteria here in the museum. Would you want to come with me? And she said, sure. So we go to the cafeteria, get some food. I get a pulled pork sandwich and some fruit or something. It was way more expensive than it should have been. I'm not going to tell you how much because my dad will kill me. It was just a lot of money, but we sit down, we start eating, and I'm just starving. So I take a bite of that pulled pork sandwich, and one bite. I take one bite, and I swallow, and then I just feel it. And I've kind of choked on things before where you can just feel like it's stuck and like it's not going down, and I start to get a little stressed, and I think, okay, I'll just drink some water and that will push it down. So I go and I get a drink of water and I put it in my mouth and I go to swallow, and the water literally it just hits my throat, and it just hits this wall of food that's stuck, and I start to drown on the water that I just drunk. The sound, like, I'm just like it's just stuck, and I spit out the water, but the food's still there, and I can't breathe, and I'm trying to, but I can't, and I can't even make a sound because my throat's stuck. And so then my friend, she sees that I spit out the water, and she's like, whoa, what's wrong? But I like start to point at my throat, and like I'm choking. I'm like, this is the real deal. And she says, help, help. No, nobody even noticed. There's a few other people in the cafeteria, but nobody was noticing. At this point, I start to black out. My vision starts to get like dark, and I'm just like, I don't even know what to do. Like, your brain doesn't even have time to think because it just hits. So the panic hits so fast. I feel like I come up and he starts to try to do the Heimlich, but he didn't know what he was doing, and he was just hitting me in the chest, and I like could barely see at this point because I was starting to black out, and then I just hear a voice, and then I feel like the real Heimlich, to the point where a guy like pushes hard enough on my chest that it all comes up, just, and I just spew everywhere. The food comes up, and I just make this huge mess. I can breathe. And it was, oh my gosh, like I've never felt a gasp of air so relieving. And it was so scary. First thing that came to my mind the moment I can breathe was, this is so embarrassing. Like, I'm so sorry. And I see the people's faces. I see how scared they are. And I just felt so bad that I scared them, because they probably feel so worried about me. And I felt so bad that they would worry about me. But I was fine. Like, I just almost choked, but I'm fine. Like, I could breathe. I drank some more water. Okay, I'm probably not going to eat food, so I threw my food away, so there was all that money down the drain, which is fine, I guess. So then the security guard came and asked me if I was good, and I'm like, I'm fine. He's like, do you want to get checked? Do you want us to call an ambulance or anything? And I'm like, no, like, I can breathe now. And then they're like, so who did the Heimlich on you? Like, who helped? And I didn't know, but my friend Maddie, what a miracle that she was there, she said, oh, this guy helped. And apparently the guy sitting next to us, I don't even remember his name, which is crazy. He saved my life. Him and his wife were doctors from Slovenia who had come all the way here for a 10-day vacation, and just happened to be sitting next to me in the museum at the same time that I started to choke, and he knew what to do. He was a doctor. He saved my life. and I'm like, thank you. I'm like, thank you. But he's like, no, it's fine. It's fine. And then he just went back to eating lunch with his daughter and wife. And then eventually the curator of the museum came down and he asked how I was, and I just said, I'm fine. Like, I can breathe, so I'm good. And once again, do you want any emergency help, ambulance? And I'm just like, at this point, social anxiety had taken complete control, and I'm like, I just want to get out of here. Like, I am so embarrassed. Like, I've made this mess, everyone like staring at me, so I'm just gonna go home. So I leave the museum, I go home, I get in bed, and then that's when it hits me. Like, after an hour later, I was like, I almost died. Like, if my friend Maddie hadn't been there with me, and if no one would have noticed that I was choking, once you pass out, like, you're not breathing anymore, and there's not much they can do. And it just hit me that I was minutes, I don't know, away from death. Time number 2 also happened to be in New York. This happened, I must have had the flu or something, but I was just really sick while I was in New York. And so I needed some NyQuil just so I could get to sleep because I was so stuffed and just not feeling good at all. Yeah, get this NyQuil, and it's a pill. It's a horse pill. It is huge. and I'm such a fool. All right, I put this in my mouth. Whoop. Drink some water. It goes down. Boop. Get stuck. And the same feeling that happened at when I was in the museum, it just hit me that I can't breathe. And so then I had talked to my parents since the last time that I choked, and I knew that you could kind of do the Heimlich on yourself on a chair. So I grab a chair in my room and I just start pounding. Hoo, hoo, hoo. I get like a gasp of air, just like it's like a little bit, but it's still stuck and I can still feel it and it's not coming out. But it moved enough that some air is coming through. So I'm like, okay, I can breathe, like, kind of, but this hurts. And I don't know what to do. So I go, my apartment, our room was right next door to the community kitchen, since these were kind of like a dorm setting. So I just go into the kitchen, and there's two guys. These two kids who are there for like they're there for an internship with Bloomberry Badooby. A really fancy clothes place where like a t-shirt's like $200. Anyways, their internship's there. They're just sitting there and they're playing Smash Bros. And I'm like spitting up on the floor, like because I can't swallow my spit, because if I swallow the spit, I'll start to drown in my own spit. So I'm just like, and this guy's like, and I just point saying I'm choking, and so this guy just comes up and just boom, 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 and my throat opens up and the pill goes down, and it's like, oh man, and he's just like, dude, like, are you okay? The first thing I feel is just how embarrassed I am. Are you playing Smash Bros? Yeah. You playing Melee? Yeah. Can I play? Yeah. So here I go from almost dying, and then I'm sitting there playing Smash Bros. I'm still in a lot of pain. My throat hurts a lot, but I'm just like, everything will be fine. Everything will be better. I was in a Smash Bros. Club in high school where we just played Melee every day, and so it was just something that I really enjoyed. So I was just like, I really don't want to think about how I almost died again. So I'm just gonna play Smash Bros. With these guys, and they were so cool. Once again, don't remember his name. He saved my life, and I don't remember his name. You'd think I'd be a little bit more grateful. If you're out there and if you're listening, doctor from Slovenia and dude who is doing the internship in New York, thank you. You don't realize how much you value everything you've been given until you have these small experiences. And these are like small. These are small moments. Literally, I'm fine, 100% fine, and then 1 second, I'm almost dead. And so you just start to think about things a lot differently. And so that happened in New York over the summer, and then I come home and things are normal. I go see a doctor about this, and we're talking about treatments I can do, and it's all going to happen eventually. But then my family, a couple months later, we go camping, and good camping trip, just with my family, my sisters and my sister, brother-in-law and their kids, and some other families that they know. And so we're camping, it's a great time, just 4-wheeler rides, fishing, good food. And then one night I gotta make steak, and I love steak. My favorite food is steak, my favorite breakfast is steak, my favorite lunch is steak. Steak is my favorite food, and I could eat it every day, all day. This guy makes this delicious steak, and I'm just pounding it. I'm so hungry. I had been lost. We didn't have reception, so I went up in the woods because I had to make a call for work, And so I got lost a little bit on my way back, but I'd made it back, and it was dark, and everyone was worried about me, but I made it, and it was fine. But I was starving, and then there was a steak, so I was like, yeah. So I sit down and I start eating the steak, and I get a few bites in, and then it happens again. I just feel it, how you just can't breathe. It just hits, and I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, have I not learned my lesson? That you just chew your food and swallow, take your time. But apparently I was just too eager and too dumb to realize how to solve this problem. So I start choking again. And this was different because it was really slow, and I could still breathe through my nose. And so what was interesting about this time around is the previous times that I choked, I couldn't breathe through my, at all. But this time, I could breathe through my nose. I had to breathe slowly, but my throat was I don't even, it doesn't even make sense, but it was just enough that I couldn't take a deep breath, but it was just a little slight, so I could still get some oxygen. But and then something starts happening. I start to feel my fingers start to go numb, and my feet start to go numb, and then my legs and my arms, and then my face. And I didn't know this at the time, but I started to go into shock. All of my blood starts going to my heart to keep me alive, and literally my fingers start to cramp, I can't move them, and they're stuck like this, and then my face starts to get frozen, and I couldn't open my eyes, and I couldn't move my mouth, and I could barely breathe. It's interesting because the other times I had choked were so fast that I didn't really have time to be scared in the moment. It was just, oh, what's happening? But this one was so slow, so gradual, that my body started to shut down. This was the most scared I'd ever been in my entire life. Because here I am with my family, the people who love me the most, and things literally start to go black. I cannot see because my eyes are shut because I'm going into shock. I can barely breathe. And I didn't know if it was going to be okay. And my parents are there, and I was just like, I don't want to die.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Start bleeding.
I just remember my mom was there, and she's just patting my back, just standing there, and she's just telling me to breathe. It's going to be okay, just breathe. And I'm trying to breathe just slow. Because it wasn't to a point where I'm choking. It's slowly moving down, so I'm going to be okay. My parents know that, and I know that I'm gonna be okay, but I'm just scared. And this was I thought about it, and that whole thing, your life flashes before your eyes. It just happened. I thought of all the people who love me and who care about me and who need me and who rely on me, and not that I'm anything special, but it was just, this isn't it. This isn't how I want it to end. And I was so dramatic, and I just wanted, in my head, I wanted to say Mom and Dad, I love you. Because I wanted that to be the last thing I ever said, is that I love them. But I didn't, because I knew my mom would lose it. And so I knew she would freak out. So I didn't say anything. I just cried. and finally, it slowly went down. And it took a long time. I learned my lesson. That I just need to eat food slower. Go figure. Here's the point. So this year, I've made some mistakes. I've messed up. There was a brief time where I didn't feel like I had repented of everything that I needed to have been repented of, if that makes sense. Nothing serious, but just little things that I needed to fix, and I hadn't. And it reached that moment where I thought that I was going to have to meet Heavenly Father, and I wasn't ready. It's been stuck in my head that we don't, I'm not saying, oh, we could die at any time, oh, be afraid that you're going to die. That's not how we should live, but it definitely taught me that today is the day to be ready. What if the second coming happens right now? Today is the day to be repented, to be praying, to be reading your scriptures, to be serving your neighbor. I'm not saying we're going to be perfect and we're still going to make mistakes. I mean, this is the point of this life, is to make mistakes. But what I am saying is, do not procrastinate. There's aspects of our personality and of who we are that are going to take years to change. And so I'm not saying you can overcome an addiction right now. I'm not saying you can change everything about yourself right now, but what I am saying is you need to be working on it right now. Because if the Savior came today, he's not going to be like, well, you're not perfect, so you're not going to make it. No one's going to be perfect. But what he is going to say is, were you trying today? Did you try today? And if you failed, he's not going to worry about that as long as you were trying. If you fail while trying, it's way better than not trying at all. And so that's what I just want to leave with you guys, is that that's what I've learned, and that's what I'm trying to do, is just make it so that every day I can confidently say at the end of the day, maybe I failed a test, maybe I hurt somebody's feelings, maybe I messed up, maybe I wasn't perfect, but did I try? Your guys' lives are worth it, and Heavenly Father has this plan. He needs you for his work, but if you don't If you don't do it, he'll find somebody else. His work will not be stopped. So, but he's offered you this opportunity to be a part of his plan so that you can receive the blessings. So when you don't do his work, it's you that misses out on the blessings that he has ready for you. His work will go on. What God needs to happen will happen. He's just giving us the opportunity to be a part of it and to be blessed by it. That's just what I wanted to leave with you guys today. Crazy life is crazy.
Just found out my birthday is the same day as the day I was born. Life is crazy.
And anything can happen. And so just make sure that you're doing your best to be who you want to be right now. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I love you all so much, and I appreciate your support so much. It just makes me so happy. I feel loved, and I hope you feel loved because I genuinely appreciate you guys. And I'm just hoping, like, I want to make these videos because I'm hoping that one video can help one person. I just want to share what I've got, and hopefully it inspires you to share what you've got, because heaven knows I need your help. So please, just be good. Okay? Have a wonderful day. Okay, bye.